to the end.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the breakfast meeting here on NBS Television. My name is Isabella Tugume. The 90 days of oil and mining continue, and that is from the 26th of August all the way until the 26th of November. This morning, our conversation still is in line with oil and mining. However, our topic is insuring oil project. Over $500 million have been invested to insure oil projects, and we want to understand how relevant this is for Ugandans and, of course, how best we can partake in the process. Joining me this morning are two gentlemen. One, Mr. Latimer Mukasa, who is the chairman, Uganda Insurers Association, and a member of the Technical Committee of Uganda Insurers Association for Oil and Gas Risks, and also Mr. Ronnie Musoke, the vice chairperson of the Technical Committee of Uganda Insurers Association for Oil and Gas Risks, and a fund manager of the Insurance Consortium of Oil and Gas in Uganda. Good morning, Mr. Mukasa.
Good morning, Isabella. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Mr. Musoke, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
First time in our studios?
Yes, first time in your studios.
Fantastic studios.
Oh, I think
very nice.
Perfect.
Take time to invest. All right, I'll start with you, Mr. Mukasa. Considering the wide scope of activities in the oil and gas industry, what has the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda put in place to guide the local insurance sector?
Thank you, Isabella. The Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda has done an excellent job in preparing the industry for oil and gas. They've come up with the regulations, which are very important, and these regulations are actually based on international best practice. And the regulations will guide the industry on how the covers are going to be placed. So they're ready, and they're awaiting approval from the Ministry of Finance, and as well as the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Having got those approvals, and they'll be seconded to be gazetted and ring-fence insurance services for the oil and gas sector. So that's one of them. Secondly, of course, we are all insurance companies are regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority. So they've really done a good job in ensuring that all licensed entities are properly capitalized and running their businesses properly, and also ensuring that all the policy documents and the policies that are going to be covering the gas are very well looked at and thoroughly scrutinized. So it's an ongoing process, and we are actually happy with what the regulator has done up until now.
All right, thank you. Mr. Musoke, what are the risks that the Insurance Consortium shall be able to cover for the oil and gas businesses here in Uganda?
Thank you, Isabella, for that question. Now, as an industry, we're mindful that there are several risks that the oil and gas sector is exposed to. But like we mentioned earlier, as a sector, we came up with what we call an insurance consortium, under which we shall be ensuring the key risks which are associated with the East African crude oil pipeline and also the refinery. Now, the key risks that we're talking about here are mainly three. The first one is the engineering risk. By engineering, we're talking about during the construction phase. So we are looking at the exposure to these projects, which may lead to damage to the structures as they're being put up. So that is very key, and we're mindful that it takes quite a lot of money to even put up these two projects. Now, the other one is marine insurance. Marine, we're looking at the movement of the equipment from source to destination. Here, what we're looking at is along the way, this equipment could be damaged while it's in transit. It could be stolen. So again, these risks are very key to the oil and gas sector, and they definitely have to be insured. The third one that we're looking at is public liability. Now, this is liability to third parties while the construction is going on. And the third parties are anyone who is not involved in that particular project. And the risks we're looking at here are two. One is resulting from bodily injury to the persons who are not part of the project, and the other one is damage to their property. So these three risks, being that they are so huge in nature, we felt that it is best that they are handled through the consortium. And here we're talking about pulling resources together to be able to have them insured. In line with that, we're mindful that we may not have, in terms of just the local players, sufficient capacity to do this. And we've partnered with a number of other colleagues who are also familiar with these risks. And we put together a capacity to the tune of $500 million so far. This is guaranteed year on year. So once we are called upon to start insuring these projects, already we have a guaranteed $500 million facility, which is available. And there are definitely other reinsurers who are out there who are also ready to come on board and make sure that there's no exposure to all the stakeholders as far as these risks are concerned. Right. There are several other risks involved, but those could be perceived to be a little minor compared to the three I've talked about. And these also, we're talking about motor insurance, we're talking about injury to workers, we're talking about office assets. So all these, we're actually able to have them insured as well. But the key ones are the ones I mentioned: engineering, marine insurance, marine or movement of cargo, and also third-party liabilities.
All right. Yeah. Mr. Mukasa, of what benefit is the insurance industry's involvement in the oil and gas sector to Uganda, both socially and economically?
Okay, key to that is localizing of premiums. Let me just explain. My colleague Ronnie talked about the consortium. So basically the consortium, what's happened is each individual companies licensed in Uganda would not have sufficient capacity to be able to cover oil and gas. So insurance companies have come together and form a consortium. And that's all of us, save for a few who have just come on board recently. And it is that consortium that has come up with that capacity of the $500 million that Ronald talked about. Now, what that means is that covers will now be placed through the consortium, which means that ordinarily where premiums would be paid abroad, they're now going to be paid in Uganda. And we retain a portion of the risk that we can retain, and then reinsure the rest where we can have better capacity. So that retention of the premiums here in Uganda actually increases GDP and also contributes to local retention capacity. Now that means that the insurance companies already offering these covers now, as time goes on, they'll be increasing their capacity to retain a lot more risk. So that is one key benefit. Again, following on from that, the second benefit would be to increase the insurance penetration in Uganda. Currently, it's at 0.85%, less than 1%. So it's really not good. It's still the lowest in the region. So we are aspiring to make sure that the penetration actually increases. So that this oil and gas will help a lot. And of course, we cannot ignore the skills transfer. This is the first time that Uganda is getting involved in the oil sector from an insurance perspective, and there are skills that come with this, which we did not previously have in the industry. So that's very critical that we're going to have players who are developing skills and knowledge about insuring oil and gas risks. All right.
Mr. Musoke, in terms of where the industry is right now, Ugandans are probably aware that the construction works will commence in 2022 towards crude oil production. So what is the consortium doing to make sure that members' interests and stakeholders' expectations in the consortium's capacity to cover high risks and gas exploration and production is maintained?
Thank you very much, Isabella.
You're welcome.
Now, for starters, what we've done as an industry is we work very closely with the Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, to which we're also members. Now, by being members, we also actually have a seat on the board or the governing council. And there's one specific committee there, which is the technical committee, on which we also serve. Now, that technical committee, oil and gas actually falls squarely in there as well. So we get to engage quite a lot with them. So all the activities that Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum is involved in, we are actually also part of them. So all the conferences that they've been arranging, we've also been participating. And why we're doing that is to make sure that we keep ourselves abreast with all the ongoings of the oil and mining sector in Uganda. So wherever you see Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum is in a way probably synonymous with insurance. The other thing that we've done also is we're conducting training for the industry. The training I'm talking about is focusing on oil and gas, because we're also trying to prepare ourselves for being able to insure these risks once the time is right. The training that we're doing is both local and foreign. The local training is done through our training arm, which is the Insurance Training College, and we've partnered with an organization called Total Risk Solutions, who are helping us a great deal with this training. And you could say on a quarterly basis, there are training programs going on oil and gas. But what we've also done is also externally, we've also tried to partner with other organizations who are quite familiar with these oil and gas risks. And we've been working with them closely to make sure that we understand where we're heading with oil and gas, being that it's quite complex in nature. The other thing that we've done is we've worked very closely with the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. And this is towards the putting in place of the oil and gas regulations. And this we've done, again, very closely with our regulator, the Insurance Regulatory Authority. Because being that these are very specialized risks, it was felt necessary to have a specific regulation for oil and gas. And this has been done, and we've been engaging with the Petroleum Authority of Uganda to have it concluded. And once that is done, then we'll see the gazetting of the insurance services and also the ring fences as one of the as part of the local content. The other thing that we've also done is to familiarize ourselves with the risks of oil and gas. And around a year back, we actually made a trip to the Albertine region. And why we did that is to, instead of reading about what goes on in this field, we actually felt that it was necessary to be on the ground and see for ourselves, and were given a tour to understand exactly the kind of risks that these entities are involved in. So we feel that we've tried to keep so close to all the activities in the oil and gas field to make sure that once we're told that we should come on board and safeguard the assets and the interests of all the stakeholders, we are good to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it was really nice having you both in the studio with us, having a conversation pertaining to insuring the oil project. Before I let you both go, it's usually culture and custom that you let our viewers know what you want them to take home from our conversation. So I'll start with you, Mr. Musoke, and wind up with Mr. Mukasa.
Okay. I think just like we did as an insurance industry by putting in place a consortium, we would actually urge all the other interested service providers in this field to also go the same route and come together as a group as opposed to going individually. Because I think the consortium that we put in place was actually done 2 years ago, but officially launched last year in April during the Uganda Chamber of Mines and Petroleum Oil and Gas Convention. So at the moment, you'll find that it's probably the only consortium which is recognized. So we would urge all our other colleagues who are intending to supply the oil and gas sector to also do likewise. Because otherwise, if that is not the case, then, and we are now seeing that the host government agreements are being signed, it's probably only a matter of time that we'll be seeing the final investment decision also being done. So we wouldn't want them to be left behind. So just like we've done as the insurance sector, we'd also urge our colleagues to also do the same. And we're also part of the 90 days of oil and mining, and it is something that would encourage everybody to actually come on board and make sure that by the time the actual convention takes place, that we've all come to appreciate why we actually need to embrace oil and mining in this country, as it is going to actually take it to another level.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Musoke.
Yes, the oil and gas activities, the insurance around the oil and gas activities can be pretty complex and very highly specialized. But my message to the viewers is to take insurance seriously and understand the importance of insurance. The amount of work that we've actually done to get to this level just demonstrates that for the bigger projects, insurance is key. But we do not necessarily just need to look at only the big projects. We also need to encourage the public, the viewing public out there, the general public out there, that insurance is very, very important, even from an individual level, from a family level, from a business level. So it's basically very important that the public do take insurance seriously and do take out insurance.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. It was really lovely having you. We're discussing insuring oil projects, and just in case you missed out on this discussion, that particular video will be uploaded onto our Next Media YouTube channel. Our discussion is pertaining to the oil and mining campaign that's running from the 26th of August all the way until the 26th of November. My name is Isabella Tugume. I have 2 sessions coming up shortly after the break.